This activity and everything has been made possible with generous funding and support from the EU, while the RCC, by implementing the Youth Lab project, has been able to kick off to start with this process at the regional level and will carry it on in the next 2 years in each economy to support policymakers and youth to deliver on these processes. In this session, we have with us Ms. Tamara Gojkovic, who is the key facilitator from the group of 5 facilitators, trainers, and experts who have been engaged from the beginning on to develop the methodology by incorporating the EU dialogue, youth dialogue principles, European Youth Dialogue principles. Then we have Mr. Gianpaolo Suriano, the acting head of Unit for International Cooperation from the European Commission, DG for Education, Youth, Sports and Culture. We have Ms. Alexandra Pavicevic, who is member of the pool of experts and for the past 2 days has given valuable contribution in the first working group, and she comes from Association of Youth with Disabilities of Montenegro. And in the end, I'm going to be sharing some more information about the next steps and processes. I want to welcome Ms. Gojkovic to share more about the methodology, as well as how this methodology has been translated during the kickoff and implemented during the kickoff, and what could be some of the lessons and other information that could be valuable to share with the pool of experts, as well as others who are watching us in Facebook Live and other social media.
Thank you, Adam, and hello, everyone. Greetings from Brussels, from quite cloudy Brussels. So I'm bringing you a bit of Christmas spirit in these difficult times behind me. So I hope that you're all well, wherever you are and from wherever you're following us today. And big congratulations to the pool of experts and everybody that has been taking part in these 2 days in the kickoff meeting of the Western Balkans Youth Policy Labs. So big congratulations to all of you. Because when we have started this process in September, we knew that it's not going to be an easy journey. And for us, it's almost ending, but for you, it's just starting. So I hope that you have enjoyed these last 2 days because, as I said, this is just a beginning. You have been working very closely, not only in the last 2 days, but in previous weeks with my colleagues that I would like to mention: Lindita Regepi, Maria Pantelic, Valentina Antic, and Matej Manevski, who together with me have incorporated our knowledge and experience in the field of youth sector, civil society, and cross-sectoral cooperation into this process. And why were these experiences important? Because whatever we have been experiencing in the previous years of our work, that's something that you've probably experienced already so far, but probably you will be experiencing a lot of challenges in the period that is upcoming in the Western Balkans Youth Policy Labs. We have developed, and this is the reason why we developed a methodology and a model as a proposal for you to follow in the upcoming activities that RCC team, who had worked equally, incredibly hard in this process, will be guiding you through the way. And why does this matter? Why does this matter? Because during these 2 days, we have basically went through the process of co-creation. And even if you could see it as a bit of an exercise, it actually wasn't. We did co-create something together. And this is something that you will be hopefully working on in the next 2 years. But why is this process so important? Because it doesn't only bring together policymakers and young people, it is giving the opportunity to everyone that is sitting around the table or around Zoom in these difficult times to be on the same page and to be equals. And that's something that really matters. And this is something that you will be finding a lot in the Policy Lab methodology and model that you will be, hopefully, as I said, following in the following steps of the process. Why is it important to sit together in the same place, discussing and talking about the issues? Because this is the only way how we can find solutions. And it's extremely important to be solutions oriented, because if we are not, and if you're always stuck in the same place or space, we will never move on. What we should never forget, all of us, is that this is about making the position of young people, present and future generations, better. And this is what youth policy labs are giving you as the opportunity to do. Because this is about participatory and youth-centered approach. It is a safe space where young people and policymakers can participate on equal basis together with policymakers, representatives of institutions and governments, and they can co-design new and innovative solutions. And what does it basically mean? It means working together. I'm going back again because to that very important aspect of the policy labs, working together. And working together is not an easy thing to do, because working together and co-creating means also trusting each other. And that's something that you gain through time. So what will this process bring you? Apart from providing new potential policy solutions, not only at the regional level, but also at the level of the economies, you as pool of experts building the skills and knowledge how to co-create, but it will also inspire new thinking and innovation in the policy creation. But again, more importantly, it will give you opportunity to learn how to trust each other, work together, and build something that will make a change. And the only ones that can make a change are ourselves. You know that we always say, be the change that you want to see. Well, that change is us. And in this case, it's you, the pool of experts, and all the people that are around and are willing to support, and all the people that will be involved in the whole process. There will be a lot of doubts, I'm quite sure, but there will be also a lot of opportunities to involve other young people, those that don't have the equal starting points. And this is very important to emphasize. It's about being equal, giving equal opportunities also to those who maybe cannot voice up their voices, their thoughts and opinions. So it all comes back to these three words: trust, equality, and participation. As I said, you will be experiencing a lot of challenges in the process, but this process that we have been developing as a group of people that has been around youth sector for quite some time, and civil society in general, is because we have based it on the EU Youth Dialogue process, or as it used to be called, structured dialogue process. And that by itself, the process, is an ever-changing and evolving process. And it has been already going on for many years, and every year there are always reflections and improvements, and asking ourselves, okay, what can we do better? But never forget that these kind of processes can make a real and meaningful change. And this is the opportunity that you have now, because the EU dialogue process, based on participatory approach and the safe space, did bring, in the end of the day, European youth goals as the products of the process, and it did significantly contribute to the creation of the EU youth strategy, which will be the basis, and it already is the basis, of the programs, youth-oriented programs such as Erasmus+, European Solidarity Corps, that are being used by millions of young Europeans, and not only Europeans, but young people around the world. So I'm emphasizing again, you can make a change. And whatever you're doing in the next period, it will matter, because it will matter to those young people that we will be putting trust on and showing them that this can really work. So this is what methodology and model that me together in my team have been, and our team together has been developing in the previous month, because now you have a tool, and now you see after this kickoff how it works, because as I said, we basically went through the whole process, and now it will be up to you to implement it in your economies, in your local communities, and involve as many young people and policymakers as possible. Again, you can make a change, and I'm wishing you all the best in the process that you're about basically to begin.
Thank you a lot, Tamara. And if you could just stay for briefly, just for another few minutes, to share with us what have been some of the, since I mean the topic has been to tackle youth unemployment, and if you could share just briefly, like what have the discussion revolved around, and what have been some of the policy recommendations that have been explored by the pool of experts.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for mentioning that, because indeed we have been tackling youth unemployment in not only last 2 days, but in the previous months. And this is extremely important topic, especially now in the situation of COVID-19 pandemic, when unemployment rates are actually skyrocketing, not only in Western Balkans, but also in the whole Europe. And this is what will also put the Western Balkans in the spotlight and give it equal space and place at the European level. So what we have been discussing last 2 days, and this is just food for thoughts. I'll be giving you just a brief examples of some of the recommendations. Again, great work, everyone. What we have come up as recommendations for the future process of Western Balkans Youth Policy Labs are creation of the youth guarantee in the Western Balkans economies, harmonizing the legal frameworks in the economies, making programs more accessible to young people with different starting points in their lives, which is extremely important, and I have been already mentioning that, ensuring that alignment of employment policies and educational policies, and developing joint curricula and programs to tackle youth unemployment through education. Then what we have been mentioning very much is also improving the system of career counseling, then developing joint programs based on specific needs of young people and the labor markets through using different methods, so not only the ones that we are already used to, establishing resource centers for youth entrepreneurship, and mainstreaming entrepreneurship through public education as a facultative course from elementary school to high school, in order to engage different levels of competitions, for example, as the learning process for young people to be able to join the labor markets. So as you can see, a lot of very, very important topics, and emphasizing working together and mainstreaming, which is extremely important for the region and Europe as well.
Thank you, Tamara, once again also for summarizing all this, the content of the work that has been conducted through the kickoff process, and looking forward all economies to adapt these in at the level of the economy, and as well as to enhance the regional cooperation in this regard. With us, as I mentioned earlier, it's also Mr. Gianpaolo Soriano, acting head of Unit for International Cooperation from DG Education, Youth, Sport and Culture. As Tamara already mentioned, part of the youth dialogue, it's not something that it is set in stone, but it evolves and benefits from different stakeholders that support the process, but also help in shaping this process. And we're lucky, I mean, that the EU, it's always in different ways supporting the region, but also involved in the region, and would benefit also this conference, this meeting would benefit also from your remarks in the closing session of the kickoff event. Mr. Soriano, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really an honor for me to be here today and to participate to this closing session for the kickoff of the first meeting of the Western Balkan Regional Thematic Youth Lab. As Tamara mentioned earlier, I also wish all of you, I mean, to be in good health, whatever you are following us today. It's certainly a pity we have not been able to meet physically, and you know, we all know what the situation is today, but I think we can still already we can still be happy that at least we have the means to communicate and to progress in our work despite the difficult situation. Now, the project today marks really an important step, giving young people a voice and mobilizing youth to engage in policy making. I have heard from Tamara, you have been really working hard to try to achieve really some meaningful results. You have made interesting recommendations, which now have to be translated into policies. Therefore, I mean, Tamara mentioned it earlier. I think it's very important now to engage really at local level to make sure indeed that recommendations and policies turn into something real. Yeah, sorry, there was someone speaking on the. Now for us, the European Commission, we are very well aware of all the challenges that young people are facing in the Western Balkans. Challenges that, in a way, are very similar to what young people in the EU are also facing. Challenges that certainly the ongoing pandemic has made even more difficult. Now, as you know, I work, I mean, I lead now the international cooperation unit, and for us, international cooperation is extremely important, and we associate very often international cooperation to international mobility. So spending time abroad is certainly key to our programs, is key to our education programs, but also culture, the youth, the sport dimension. I mean, they all have a very strong mobility component, and it's something that we strongly advocate for. Yet, when in a country the number of young people seeking a job, seeking opportunities for work abroad is very high, that clearly indicates that there is somehow a lack of opportunities in the countries. Now, if we look at the Western Balkan and the results of the most recent Western Balkan Barometer, we see that 70% of the Western Balkans young people are actually considering finding a job abroad. And we also see that, you know, the figures indicate that there is a correlation between decreasing concern over unemployment, but raising anxieties over brain drain as young people leave their countries, their homes. Now, in order to support the Western Balkans addressing these challenges, the European Commission is really actively targeting and promoting the Western Balkans and its youth in many important policy documents to make really make a clear statement that indeed the region is and will remain in the years to come very important for an important priority for the EU. I'm sure you are aware that only a few weeks ago we have adopted two landmark communication, one on the European education area by 2025 and the renewed digital education action plan. Both communication actually have a very strong global dimension, international dimension, focusing on priority regions, among which certainly the Western Balkans. You also know that the Western Balkan is an important priority region for our commissioner, Maria Gabriel, as she has clearly shown with her renewed effort to promote a new agenda, Western Balkan agenda in research and innovation, education, culture, youth, and sport, what we call the innovation agenda. This was very recently discussed with the Western Balkan ministries of education, culture, and research. That was on the 3rd of December at the Western Balkan ministerial meeting. Which was a very important step, because this now will pave the way really for a joint declaration, which we aim to sign by sometime in spring, most likely May. And in the agenda, really the fostering youth cooperation within the Western Balkan region and also with the EU and tackle youth unemployment and brain drain is really one of the priorities that is identified in the document. A priority that will be tackled in particular through our programs, in particular the Erasmus+, but also Creative Europe and the European Solidarity Corps. Now, if we look at Erasmus, as I said earlier, mobility is something that we advocate very strongly for. I don't think I need to convince you about the benefit of international mobility, what international or spending time abroad brings in terms of both personal and professional development. Actually, evidence shows that students who have had the opportunity to do an Erasmus exchange during their studies increase their employability of about 42%, which is huge. But it's not only about that. In fact, you know, if we look at even from the employer's perspective, while 64% of employers consider international experience important for recruitment, up to 92% of employers are actually looking for what we call transversal skills, which include openness to new challenging, problem solving, decision making, confidence, tolerance. I mean, these are all skills which you don't learn on textbooks. But you acquire really through experience, including indeed through international through an experience abroad. As you know, the program also Erasmus also promote traineeships and job placement, which really contribute to strengthening the link between education and the labor market. Now, more than one in 3 Erasmus students who has enjoyed a job placement abroad has actually been hired or offered a position by the host company. 1 in 10 former mobile students went for a job placement abroad and started their own company, and in fact 3 out of 4 is thinking of doing that in the future. The unemployment rate of Erasmus students 5 years after graduation is over 20% lower than their peers. I mean, I think these numbers are quite telling. Now, we also know that the whole digital dimension has become extremely important, and this we have seen it very clearly now with the pandemic. I mean, it has become extremely important really to upgrade our education and training infrastructures and digital equipment to ensure really quality in access, sustainability, and counter the digital divide that is becoming actually bigger and bigger. Therefore, investing in teachers training and adapt their teaching to the digital era has become something essential, which in turn will equip our children with the digital skills they need to succeed in life. Now, I mentioned earlier in last 30th of September the renewed digital education action plan for the period 2021-2027 was adopted, and it outlines really the European vision for digital education, one that is of high quality, inclusive, and accessible to all. As I said, I mean, the COVID pandemic has certainly shown that the digital readiness of our education systems is still suboptimal. We need really to work to ensure, I mean, a better readiness and really support our education and training systems in their strategic planning of using of digital technologies for teaching and learning. Now, the Digital Education Action Plan will make available many opportunities, some of which are already used by the Western Balkan. I'm referring, for instance, to the Selfie tool or the HE Innovate for higher education. I mean, these are already available and will be actually expanded in the future. The new Erasmus program will also make available opportunities in other areas, not only higher education, which is the current focus, but and youth, but also the vocational education and training. That's a little bit, that's at least the intention, where in fact the idea is to support both mobilities of vet learners, but also capacity building to foster really the modernization of vet systems. As I said, I mean, this remains still very provisional because, as you know, we are still discussing the future architecture of the program, and the respective legal bases are still under negotiation. But the intention is there, and I truly encourage representatives of enterprises really to use these opportunities once available, because they will be very beneficial not only for the learners themselves, but also for the enterprises who could engage really in important cooperation project. I could not leave you without also making a reference to the important achievements that have been made in the field of youth, really thanks to the youth component of the Erasmus program, which has made available since the start of the current period, so since 2014, many opportunities for mobility, enough to think that nearly 19,000 young people have benefited from a mobility opportunity through the program. But also the structured dialogue, which in a way is a precursor, if you want, of the youth policy lab, which has engaged over 1,000 young people from the region, and then the youth capacity building project, which covered really a wide range of activities still in the field of youth, being it youth empowerment, education, or quality of education. As I said, over 250 projects have been funded over the past 5 years, recognize really the importance of youth work, non-formal learning, and volunteering. To name some projects, you know, for instance, there is the Balkan with 8, with a series of documentaries on what kind of on the type of multicultural society we want to live in, or then the Mostar Peace Project, organizing exchanges of youngsters between the different communities of the city. Also, since 2018, the European Solidarity Corps is running, and there over 300 young volunteers from the region have benefited from the action. I mean, this was just to give you a bit of a snapshot of what has been already done, and a preview of what the new program will bring. Now, to conclude, I really hope that today's meeting will mark only the beginning of a great journey together. I'm confident that with mutual commitment and extended cooperation opportunities, greater time will be ahead of us. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you a lot, Mr. Suriano, for all these encouraging words. I mean, especially for the pool of experts and everybody who has been engaged today, and the youth in the Balkans, as well as the public administrations, that the path towards the EU, it's not on their own, but it is also matched by support, and continuous support, upgraded support in every step, especially about these parts of when we are discussing about the mobility, when we are discussing about innovation, digitalization, and as you were saying, the challenges, to address the challenges of youth, which may be similar with the youth in the European Union, but with the specifics of the region as well. The region, it's facing this issue of the brain drain, and we hope that through these processes, as well as through more cooperation and better information, the youth in the Western Balkans will find its own place in decision making, in policy making, and as well as you were mentioning the part of the mobility and how important it is also in bringing back and having a better prospect for youth. And we hope that the regional cooperation will show that as much as it improves, it will provide more benefits to the youth. And now to share her experience during the kickoff of the Youth Policy Lab our member of the pool of experts who comes from Association of Youth with Disabilities of Montenegro, Ms. Alexandra Pavicevic. The floor is yours, and would share also with all the members, all those who are following us, that you have the option of choosing interpretation, which is available in different languages in the Zoom platform. Ms. Pavicevic, the floor is yours.
Hvala lijepo. Pozdrav svima, pozdrav za sve vas. Prvo na početku želim da iskažem veliko zadovoljstvo i uputim veliku zahvalnost na prilici da učestvujem u ovom događaju za koji smatram da je od izuzetne važnosti za razmjenu iskustva, kreiranje politika i praksi u oblasti zapošljavanja mladih, posebno zapošljavanja ranjivih grupa kao što su osobe sa invaliditetom kojima i ja sama pripadam. Smatram da je ovo jedan od efikasnih načina da se prepoznaju problemi sa kojima se suočavaju mladi prilikom zapošljavanja, a posebno, kao što rekoh, pripadnici ranjivih grupa. Osim toga, ovo je svakako idealna prilika da se uspostavi bolja saradnja regionalnih organizacija koje imaju za cilj postizanje većeg stepena inkluzije mladih, a posebno učešća u procesima donošenja odluka koji se tiču i koje imaju uticaj na njihov položaj. Ovo je iz razloga što smatram, odnosno smo svjedoci, odnosno ja smatram da se regionalna saradnja danas bazira isključivo na zajedničkim projektima, a ne dugoročnim, na ključnim strategijama i programima koji će doprinijeti boljim rezultatima u oblasti zapošljavanja mladih. Kad je riječ o iskustvu, zaista sam razmišljala dosta na koji način je najbolje da predstavim probleme mladih na tržištu rada, posebno obraćajući pažnju na mlade sa invaliditetom. Mi smo svakako utvrdili jučer toko konferencije i toko ovih radnih grupa da mladima nedostaje određeni niz vještina i znanja koje su neophodne na tržištu rada, da su im potrebni različiti servisi podrške kako bi razvijali svoje potencijale i isto tako mislim da je važno isto da se utvrdi da nema dovoljan broj odgovarajućih radnih mjesta za sve. Neadekvatan obrazovni sistem i nepostojanje individualizovane podrške i usmjeravanja baziranog na interesovanja te podrške u skladu sa individualnim potrebama dovodi do neosnaženosti i nespremnosti mladih sa invaliditetom za odgovornosti i vještine koje traži tržište rada. Ekspanzija diploma i neusklađeno sa savremenim tržištem rada dovodi do toga da se mladi bave čestom poslom koji nije povezan sa područjem obrazovnog profila za koje su se školovali. Šanse na početku karijere nisu jednake za sve. Mladi sa završenim visokim obrazovanjem prema svakom analiziranih aspekata značajno češće i brže počinju svoj radni život nego mladi sa srednjim obrazovanjem. Takva statistika je i među mladima sa invaliditetom. Sa druge strane, onima sa završenom osnovnom pa i srednjom školom perspektiva je vrlo loša, često ostaju nesocijalizovani i isključeni iz svih važnih društvenih tokova. Dakle, donosimo zaključak da je obrazovanje od presudne važnosti za uspjeh. Ono je posebno važno za mlade sa invaliditetom, jer nam iskustvo pokazuje da će mladi bez invaliditeta koji imaju obrazovanje, ali ne i dovoljno znanje, ipak lakše izboriti od mladih sa invaliditetom, ipak se lakše izboriti, ipak će teže će da prevazilaze sve ostale prepreke kako na tržištu rada, tako i u samostalnom životu. Govoreći s aspekta zapošljavanja mladih sa invaliditetom, mogu slobodno reći da je u ovoj ranjivoj grupi znatno otežan pristup na tržištu rada. Pod ovim podrazumiva da nemaju jednak pristup zaposlenju i niti da imaju iste uslove za sticanje kompetencija kao drugi mladi, a sve zbog niza prepreka sa kojima se mi suočavamo, je tako potpuno nepostojanja servise podrške, arhitektonskih barijera, neprilagođenih sadržaja, programa. Također, jedan od većih barijera sa kojima se suočava ova ranjiva grupa jeste neinformisanost poslodavaca o modelima pristupa invaliditetu. Sama riječ invaliditet za njih predstavlja nepoznatan pojam, nekada i strah, više ga posmatraju sa aspekta nemogućnosti obavljanja radnih zadataka, nego kao priliku da prihvataju različitosti, da imaju raznovrsni pristup poslu i iskustva zasnovana na različitim perspektivama i da teže stvaranju jednakih uslova za sve. Pored toga, mladi sa invaliditetom najčešće rade na poslovima koji su ispod njihovih kvalifikacija. Nerijetko se dešava da poslodavci pogrešno percipiraju njihovu radnu sposobnost i daju im smanjen obim posla i manje zahtjevne zadatke. Konačno, većina njih radi na privremenim poslovima, kratkoročno ili u okviru javnih radova ili nekih projektnih aktivnosti. Ovo je svakako, vjerujem, da je sve češće slučaj i sa mladima koji nemaju invaliditet, ali među mladima sa invaliditetom je trajna zaposlenost višestruka manja nego među ostalim mladim osobama. Neusklađenost obrazovnog sistema i tržišta rada moguće je značajnoj mjeri prevladati kroz temeljnije praćenje ishoda za pojedine obrazovne kadrove, odnosno za svakog pojedinačnog pripravnika, učesnika razmjene, stručne ili druge radne prakse, kroz koordinaciju cjeloživotnog obrazovanja sa poslodavcima i relevantnom vannastavnom praksom u svim oblicima obrazovanja. Znači, samo kroz ciljane obrazovne investicije i aktivne mjere zapošljavanja moguće je prevladati ustanovljene regionalne nejednakosti, kao i probleme mladih koji su zbog invaliditeta, dužeg boravka u institucijama ili pripadanja nekog od manjina marginalizovani u pristupu obrazovanja, potom i tržištu rada. Ono što je vrlo važno, smatram da je vrlo važno uspostaviti saradnju sa poslodavcima i obezbediti im radne programe koje će im omogućiti da razumiju položaj mladih, pogotovo pripadnike ranjivih grupa, kako bi mogli da stvore uslove za njihovo zapošljavanje. Kako je važno da mladi iz ranjivih grupa budu uključeni u radne programe i procese donošenja politika, jednako je važno i uključivati poslodavce, jer i njima isto također potrebna podrška, pogotovo sad u doba pandemije COVID-19. Jedino samo zajedničkim zalaganje i razumijevanje ćemo uspjeti da poboljšamo uslove na tržištu rada. Tako da pitanjima koja se tiču mladih, posebno ona koja su usmjerena na ranjive grupe, moramo pristupati s aspekta ljudskih prava. Jako je važno da nas saslušate, posebno da razumijete, uvažite naše situacije, da obezbedite različite servise podrške i stvorite adekvatne uslove, a sve u cilju da se smanji stopa nezaposlenih mladih. Mi smo svakako kroz ova 2 dana ustanovili neke određene preporuke koje se iskreno nadam da će doprinijeti poboljšanju takvog uslova, tako da se nadam da će te itekako preporuke biti prihvaćene i da ćemo konačno povećati broj mladih koji će učestvovati u svim segmentima života. Znači, bitno je da ohrabrite nas, uključite nas, obezbedite nam odgovarajuću podršku i vjerujte mi da ćemo itekako da budemo aktivni članovi društva, znači u svim politikama donošenja procesa. Hvala puno, još jednom sam zahvaljujem i hvala vam puno na pažnji. Malo sam imala tremu, tako da se nadam da je to bilo ok.
Dear Alexandra, thanks a lot for this intervention and for sharing with us, one aspect that is very important, which highlights in this segment that the youth should never be considered a homogeneous group. We have to also know the differences within youth that exist, different subgroups that exist, and as well as you mentioned very beautifully, that all should be provided equal opportunity, in the sense that some of the groups might not be at the same starting point when they go to the labor market. So we have to ensure that all to that point, everything is adapted to the needs of each specific group, and there is raised awareness also among everybody, policymakers and as well as others in the society, that this has to be addressed, and this has to be considered as part of the normal process, in the sense of working with each group specifically and addressing their needs specifically. That's why we are very happy that we have had very diverse group of youth who have participated in the kickoff event, and that's why we are encouraging, when I am explaining now about the next steps, we are encouraging all economies to expand these working groups. Because of the conditions, we have been limited to the number of people that we can invite to the kickoff. But nevertheless, in each economy, they should expand the groups and include more youth and other actors as well, who can contribute to the process, but learn also from the process, in order to make them as inclusive as possible, and ensure that those that are going to be beneficiaries of these policies, but also that can shape better these policies, are part of the decision-making process. It is not us that we are going to approve any policy recommendation or disapprove. This is all your shared space, safe space that you are collaborating with the policymakers. So we are very happy that also the perspective of the vulnerable groups has been reflected in the recommendations. So we are happy to see that there is advancement in this regard in some of the aspects, and you feel that you have ownership over these recommendations. I will go briefly, since we are a bit more beyond the time that we have anticipated, but I will go briefly to explain just some of the processes. As Tamara explained, this process methodology has been developed for each youth policy lab for a certain topic to take place for 2 years. So this has been only the start at the regional level, and we thank immensely the team of experts who have worked to combine all these principles and all these elements into a process that is going to include also the regional cooperation perspective, as well as the best practices and elements from the European Youth Dialogue process. But as Tamara also explained, that this is a dynamic process. It cannot be considered as a closed process, but we have to learn from the best practices and to incorporate into this one. And we will be able, by sharing more the methodology and other documents with you, to be able to improve it, as well as we have benefited a lot from your comments and input during the preparation training sessions that we have held in each economy. So now the kickoff, it's concluded successfully with policy recommendations that Tamara went through that have been explored in each one. We anticipate that now the pool of experts from each economy are going to organize the working groups in each economy, and they will enrich composition with more members, and will be working as first activity on adapting these policy recommendations from the regional level to the economy level, and developing, making them more concrete policies that are designed always in cooperation jointly with youth and policymakers. And in this regard, there are also the action plans and other measures developed which would ensure implementation of these policies. We as a project will support the whole process with technical assistance, with capacity development instruments, which can be used for meetings, expert support, but also will provide the opportunity for peer visits for the national youth councils, and to learn from each other in this process. We are going to share these policy recommendations after we address some of the issues, some of the parts of it, and the detailed report with all pool of experts, and we by the end of the year. But in the meantime, I mean, we anticipate that because of the holidays, everybody is going to resume and engage more actively next year in January. But in the meantime, if there is any issue that you need to discuss with us as a Youth Lab project, we will be available with all to be in touch in the sense of the pool of experts and points of contact that we have in each economy. And as I explained, the process will take 2 years. So there will be, after these initial phases, there will be implementation phase of the policies, as well as midterm review at the regional level, which we hopefully will get over the pandemic and will have it in person, as also speakers in this panel, especially Mr. Suriano, emphasized that mobility, it's a very important, and also meetings in person are very important aspect of these processes. And then afterwards, we are going to have also other activities at economy level to end it up with the final regional conference, which will serve to share the learned experiences, as well as to assess the progress in regional cooperation in advancement of youth participation in decision making, and in addressing the youth unemployment issue from regional perspective, as well as in each economy. As I would like to end the conference with a big thanks for all those that have been involved, and looking forward to work with all of you in the upcoming days, months, and years. And would like once again to emphasize what some of the remarks were in the beginning of this conference by some of the youth participants, when they said that youth, it's very important for youth to be involved in designing solutions, as there is not a single, as we cannot count that there is just a single solution and that will resolve everything, but there are multiple solutions in this process, and that we have to give a chance to this process and trust in this process, but as well as trust in each other to improve it as we go along to address these matters. As I said, these might not be the perfect policy recommendations and everything, looking from a more professional point of view, but these are the most perfect recommendations, as these have involved policymakers and youth together to address how the youth issues and youth employability issues can be resolved together. So thanks again to all of you, and looking forward to the next activities, and wish you a much better year in 2021 if we don't speak earlier than the new year.